There was a time in my life when I never wanted to play another kart racing game ever again. It felt like every company needed to have their own version, and most of them were terrible. But lately, I've mellowed out on this stance, thanks to a lot of high-quality entries that go a long way to remind me why this type of game was so popular in the first place. Unfortunately, Renzo Racer is a stark reminder of how bad things used to be. This new game from EnsenaSoft recycles the worst elements the genre has to offer, giving us a generic racer with predictable weapons and characters you'll immediately forget. And trust me, we haven't even scratched the surface on why this is one of the worst racing games of the year. If Renzo Racer looks familiar, then it might be because I previewed the game 2 years ago. I was cautiously optimistic at the time, hoping the developer would spend the time fine-tuning the handling and giving the animal cast some sort of personality. Now that it's finally come out of early access, I was excited to check in with Renzo Racer and see how it all came together. Oh, I shouldn't have bothered. Look, this is gonna be a negative review. It's not that this is just another generic kart racing game, but rather that almost everything about it is aggressively bad. I had to double check just to see if I was playing the early access build from 2017, because let me tell you, this game doesn't feel finished. But before we get to that, I do want to highlight some of the things that I genuinely like about Renzo Racer. Probably the best thing about the game is that it's loaded with content. I get the feeling that the last 2 years has been spent filling the game with unique tracks to race and characters to choose. There are 20 courses in all, which is even more impressive when you discover that they're not all repeating locations. I was impressed by how different each stage looked, as well as different obstacles they would add to each location. We'll go from getting swept up by a tornado in the desert stage to collecting keys to open up a secret passage in the pirate-themed water level. There's a nice variety here, and I love the look of each of these locations. There are also a lot of characters to choose from. Although the game is named after Renzo Raccoon, he's joined by Lenny Lizard, Bayou Beaver, Sherman Shark, Alex Alligator, Skyla Skunk, and 10 other animal friends. I mentioned in the preview that the cast had potential, and I stand by that. On their own, the character models look good, and I like the different variations in the vehicles. The problem is that there's nothing in this game to introduce them. No funny cinemas to watch or fact sheet to read. Just generic animal characters on a select screen. They have no personality and will be quickly forgotten about after you've uninstalled Renzo Racer. Of course, the problem with this game goes far beyond a few generic characters. This is a game that gets almost everything wrong, including the little things. A good example of this is the way the game controls. Most racing games will map the acceleration to the controller's right shoulder button and use the left side for the brake. Renzo Racer completely flips this around, but nobody told the button guide image they show before every event. This guide is filled with inaccuracies, which made it worse when you realize that you can't customize the button configuration. That's bad, but nothing compared to how these karts handle. The vehicles are slow and sluggish while simultaneously feeling like there's no weight to them. It's as if they want to flip over whenever you drive over gravel, take a corner too hard, or even mess up a landing. Some of that you might be able to defend, but there were far too many times when it felt like I flipped around for no reason. No matter which character I chose or how long I played the game, I never felt in control of Renzo Racer. And it certainly doesn't help that the game has perhaps the worst special item in the history of kart racing. Look, for the most part, the item pickups are pretty standard fare. There's a turbo boost, bombs you can drop, and missiles that can be fired at the opponent. The only original item comes in the form of a 4-leaf clover. Now that sounds good, but it's actually an item that'll make you swap places with the person that's either in front or behind. A bad luck pickup will send you backwards, and a good luck charm will send you forwards. Unless, of course, you're already in first place, in which case the good luck one will actually teleport you to a random location and have you face the wrong direction. I wish I was kidding. The problem with this item should be obvious, since the idea of teleporting to a completely different part of the track is inherently jarring. But it's actually worse than that, because it trains you to avoid driving over the mystery boxes. I ran into the bad luck charm at least once a game, whereas the good version of that item almost never showed up. If you get a comfortable lead and want to win the race, then the best thing you can do is purposely miss the items, because when it comes down to it, you never really know when that bad luck charm is going to strike. That's not what you want from your kart racing game. Now, the most frustrating part is that these are the exact same problems I complained about 2 years ago in the early access build. Is it possible that the game I'm playing in 2019 is actually worse than the preview build from 2017? It's not that I expected Renzo Racer to be the next Mario Kart or anything, but I'm thoroughly disappointed by all of the squandered potential. I mean, there are good elements here, but they're completely overshadowed by a generic kart racing game that is never fun to play. Renzo Racer is an important reminder of the bad old days when store shelves were littered with generic kart racing games. While I like the wide variety of levels, there's nothing original or exciting to grab onto. Worse yet, the handling is atrocious, the control scheme is backwards, the vehicles flip all over the track, and none of the animal creatures have anything resembling a personality. Some of the pieces are there, but EnsenaSoft has yet to figure out how to complete the puzzle. Renzo Racer may not be the very worst kart racing game I've ever played, but don't take that as an endorsement. Hey, thanks for watching our review. If you liked what you saw here, then you should know that we post new reviews and features almost every day. Now here's the question I have for you. What's your favorite kart racing game? Oh, I'd have to think about it, but I know that Renzo Racer is definitely not mine. What does it say about me when I can name all my least favorite before picking a winner? Let me see your picks in the comments below. In other news, I'm hard at work on a newly patched version of Decay of Logos, so look for that review soon. I also have Metal Storm news, I'm serious. In the meantime, I strongly recommend you click that subscribe button and support what we're doing here. Until then.